Number 5. He's in with a shout here, no doubt about that. And CHACON, by the way, is replacing Lu Bin, the Chinese who was representing USA at Light Fly. And for some reason, he's not in this.
Ladies and gentlemen, here we go with our first scheduled bout of the evening. Damas y caballeros, estamos listos para el próximo combate de la noche. 5 3-minute rounds in the light flyweight division. 5 asaltos de 3 minutos, peso mini mosca. The man in charge of the action when the bell sounds, el encargado de la acción cuando toque la campana, J.R. Lane, your referee. And now, introducing the principals. Primero, él está boxeando de la esquina azul. Tiene los pantalones plata con oro. De Havana, Cuba. Damas y caballeros, aquí está Yosbany, VEITIA. And his opponent across the ring, su rival de la esquina roja. Él tiene los pantalones rojos con franja blanca de San Juan, Puerto Rico. Here is Anthony CHACON. CHACON. 5 3-minute rounds in the light flyweight division. 5 asaltos de 3 minutos en el peso mini mosca. Your referee, el referee, J.R. Lane.
So here we go then, our referee's instructions. He, of course, is Mr. Lane of France, and don't forget we have Anthony CHACON representing the USA in action here against this pretty useful Cuban, and that's an understatement, in Yosbany VEITIA. So the Americans in the red shorts, and of course they are both southpaws. And I've got to say that I've seen CHACON in the past, and he's pretty useful. But I don't know whether he's got the strength here to deal with VEITIA. He's only a youngster, just 19 years of age, hasn't really developed yet. And of course, he's giving away 3 years here in age, and that does make a difference, you know. Well, a couple of little slaps there from CHACON. And you know the weirdest thing about Cuba? It's got a population of about 11.25 million. The United States have got a population of 314 million. And it's an incredible gap. But when you consider how small Cuba is, the amount of world-class sports people they turn out in all different disciplines is quite incredible, especially in boxing. Well, big right hook there from VEITIA. And the most certain thing about this one is that Anthony CHACON will be trying to take this one with both hands. He's nothing to lose whatsoever. Big right there again from VEITIA. So, of course, CHACON looking to post the first defeat here for Yosbany VEITIA. But so often I get the impression that these Cubans are boxing well within themselves most of the time. And when you consider the facilities the Americans have, oh, nice little shot there from VEITIA, and almost a touchdown from CHACON. His knees bent alarmingly. Yes, the Americans have got facilities to die for. The Cubans, well, an awful lot of the stuff they use goes back to the 1950s, and yet they still turn out these cracking fighters. And we may or may not get the scores, the official scores at the end of the round, but, well, I suspect that most of you will probably be feeling that VEITIA has won the opening round.
Está haciendo el trabajo. Todo lo que entrenamos lo está haciendo. Lo que está haciendo muy lento. Y la mano para adelante tiene que tirarse la rama. El mismo trabajo, pasar por aquí, pasar por allá, por un lado, por el otro lado, pero más rápido. Pero lo estás haciendo muy lento.
So a bit of replay here then from the opening round, and will we see that moment when the legs and the knees of CHACON dipped alarmingly? Well, unfortunately not, but here is round two. Well, there you go, that's very interesting. VEITIA Yosbany gets the nod on two judges' cards, but not on the third. So this is round two of the scheduled five. So just to remind you, if you've just joined us, Yosbany VEITIA in the white and gold shorts of Cuba in action against the American here, Anthony CHACON from Puerto Rico, from San Juan in Puerto Rico, but now, of course, eligible to box for the Americans, either as a guest or indeed as a resident. And of course, one of the other problems that CHACON has is he simply can't match VEITIA for experience, especially in this particular tournament. Look at his 6th straight win. And VEITIA is so cool, isn't he? Very, very aware of what's going on. Very good defensively. Moves well. Got a good eye. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying he's the perfect fighting machine, because who is? But you can't help but be impressed by VEITIA. Well, big right there, coming in for CHACON. And although we've seen them, knockouts and stoppages at this level are pretty rare. Oh, once again, a good right hook there from the Cuban. So this is week 6, of course, of the World Series of Boxing. It's taken us 6 weeks to get to the last of the quarter-final matches. And don't forget, the winner of this particular match will face the Russians in the semi-final. Well, another round in the bag there, I suspect, for VEITIA.
Let's hear it for Vegas.
So head coach for the Cuba Domadores is, of course, Rolando Acebal, as I mentioned earlier. And Pedro Roque taking care of the USA knockouts.
Seconds out.
And I haven't made up my mind whether it's the ability of the coaches or the natural ability of the boxers that they get hold of. You know, it's obviously a combination of the two, but it's hard to know which one comes first as we come into now to round 3 of this scheduled 5. And VEITIA is playing a pretty smart game here. He's boxing at range, but closing the gap when it suits him. And then all of a sudden, CHACON, well, doing pretty well there, unloading with both hands. But he might just pay for that. Like that. And don't forget, of course, in the event of a reasonably close round, but not absolutely blindingly obvious who's won it, if it's a reasonably close round, you can't have any qualms at all about the judges giving it to the local lad, and that, in this case, is CHACON. And that's always a problem, of course, when you box away from home. You not only got the opponent and the crowd to contend with, you have local judges generally, but not on this occasion, of course. These are all World Series of Boxing appointed. But we did see, of course, in round 1, that one of the judges actually sided with the American when the other two didn't. Maybe it was just a mistake. And everything that CHACON does is wildly cheered by this crowd, and rightly so. So can the WSB number 5 outdo the WSB number 1? And of course, VEITIA knows he cannot risk leaving this one close. He's got to go above and beyond the call of duty. But you know what? I'm going to go for Anthony CHACON in that round. So I've got a 29-28 against this young fella. But it wouldn't surprise me either way. So my advice, of course, to VEITIA is, you know, just get out there and do what you need to do. That's one decent shot he landed, of course, in round 3. And what he needs to do here is to put this one beyond any reasonable doubt.
Seconds out.
So the penultimate round, round 4.
Round 4.
If you've just joined us, I'll remind you, we're looking at Anthony CHACON in the red shorts, the 19-year-old American representative from Puerto Rico. in action here against Yosbany VEITIA of Cuba. And VEITIA won the first couple of rounds for me. CHACON won the third, and this is round 4 with one more to go. And it still could be anybody's. Well, VEITIA, you know, he's taking things quite lightly here. I know they won the first leg of the quarterfinals by 5-0, and, you know, they're almost destined to go through to the semi-final. But, you know, you don't want to lose your unbeaten record, especially against a supposedly inferior foe. Oh, nice right hand there. That was on the chin, and that knocked CHACON down. Well, full marks to Tony CHACON. He beat the count, but he's got the mandatory 8. Well, I did say he was not particularly mature, CHACON. Oh, goodness me! He's just caught VEITIA. So all of a sudden, a war developing between these two men. And this is only the second time, by the way, that Cuba and the USA have faced off against each other in a sporting event in 50 years. And if this goes Cuba's way, they wouldn't mind waiting another 50 years. Well, there's no doubt about it, that knockdown's in the count against CHACON. But we're approaching the last 15 seconds now. And Anthony CHACON's still very much in this round, isn't he? Nice right hook there again for VEITIA. Well, that's a fascinating round. And I tell you what, I'm going to go 10-9 in favour of VEITIA simply because of the knockdown. And I tell you what, CHACON did plenty of work there. Be fascinating to see how the judges have got this one. Bit of replay coming up. Could this be the knockdown? It is. And it wasn't particularly clear on the replay there, was it? Well, there you saw VEITIA getting cracked. Well, that's a fascinating score. 2-1 in CHACON's favour at the moment. And this is the final round, and VEITIA absolutely must win it. Nothing but an absolutely convincing win in this round will do for VEITIA. You know, he's not at that point where he needs a knockout to win it, but my goodness me, if he ever needed a round, it's now. Of course, neither boxer knows the situation. At the moment, Anthony CHACON has got a majority points lead. I suppose there is a slight problem about being a Cuban boxer, and that is that you may go in with a degree of arrogance and think, hey, I've got this sewn up, and then all of a sudden it goes against you. They've only lost 16%, by the way, of their contest coming into this one tonight. And that's overall. And don't forget, that's in a 6-week period. That is how good the Cubans are as we go past the halfway point in the final round. Well, will youth be served here? You know, he's incredibly keen to get the win. There's no doubt about it. CHACON is full of heart. Hit the floor once, of course. And the problem for VEITIA is, you know, if I was in the judge's chair, I'd say to myself, do something to impress me. He hasn't done that yet in this round. And this could be the decider, you know, and if it is, well, it could go CHACON's way. Well, that was a low blow slightly there from VEITIA. And I tell you what, if CHACON has got this, I would not be in the least bit surprised. And there's the final bell. Well, let's have a look now and see where they go.
From the USA Knockouts, from los Domadores de Cuba.
For what it's worth, by the way, I've scored it 48-47 in favour of VEITIA. But as I said, you know, he didn't do enough to impress me in the event of a close fight. And we saw the scores earlier, 2-1 in CHACON's favour. And, you know, sadly, I don't think VEITIA did enough to convince anybody that he was the better man. Not in the last round. Here we go there for the official verdict. And if CHACON's got it, I wouldn't be in the least bit surprised.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 5 rounds of action, I have the judges scoring, and here it is. Damas y caballeros, después de 5 asaltos de este combate, yo tengo la decisión de los jueces. Los jueces lo tienen 47-48, 47-48. 48-42, 48-42, and 47-48, 47-48. Al ganador por decisión dividida en la esquina azul de Cuba.
Well, the Cuba gets it, and how on earth one judge to have scored that contest 48-42 is completely beyond me. Yeah, the worst you can do is 45 by losing each of the rounds. But 48-42, the MC read out, and that's crazy. But it looks like a 48-47 win, majority win, in fact, for
The USA Knockouts.
48-47, majority win there for the Cuba Domadores. So there's the official score then. Cuba Domadores 1, USA Knockouts 0.